everyone, I'm back in Melbourne after my 2-week break from being in South Africa. It was an absolutely amazing trip and I enjoyed absolutely every single second of it. Some of you I got to see in SA and it was amazing to meet some of you for the first time, some of my clients and some of my colleagues. You know who you are. It was amazing. And also just some of you are my friends on this group, so it was so great to catch up with everyone. The weather was so beautiful, the food was amazing, the people were amazing, the wine was fantastic, and it was just absolutely amazing. So now I'm back, battling a bit of jet lag, but happy to be back and being a little bit more active in the group. So look out for a lot more content from me. Again, if you guys have any questions, post them below and we'll get to that. So if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay for me so that I know you're watching it towards the end. And yeah, just have an absolute beautiful message to share today. And let me just quickly share something about my trip with you. My holiday was very different to what my holidays would normally be like. So usually my holidays would be all about restricting diets before I go on holiday to make sure that I have a specific figure when I step onto the beach or wherever I am. And this would be leading up to being super hard on myself, feeling guilty for anything that I would put in my mouth that wasn't on my eating plan or detox before my trip. And then actually, just over-exercising completely to the point of being super exhausted. And this trip around, I didn't have any of that. Also, usually during my trip, I would be worried the whole time what I was eating, where am I going to get that food from, where am I going to get diet milk from, or where am I going to get low-fat cheese from, or I hope they don't serve me full-fat animals. I don't, all those kind of things would always come in my mind, and I'd obsess about it, and I really wasn't able to be in the moment of what I was really doing, and like feel guilty about every single sip of alcohol I was drinking, or every single bite of dessert I was eating, and it was just absolutely tiring actually. I mean, most of the time you'd get back from a holiday and you're like, oh, I don't even feel like I've had a holiday, and it just felt like I was obsessing the whole time. So let me know if that's ever been your experience with a holiday or a trip anywhere. That for me has been many years, has been exactly the same. And this year has been a bit different. So this year I've recovered from binge eating disorder. So my body obviously was not in the figure that it used to be back in the day when I'd obsess about what it needed to look like. However, I was happy with where my body was. I was proud of where my body was because of the fact that the progress that I've made, and I've decided that, if anyone was to judge me for what I looked like, that was on them, because for me, I've worked really hard to overcome these struggles this year, and and it turns out all those fears of judgment was all in my head. I was fearing that people would see me differently because my body didn't look the same as what it did before, and all those things. But also, my holiday was spent really connecting with friends and family, enjoying foods that I haven't been able to eat back here in Melbourne, enjoying foods cooked by beautiful friends and families, enjoying foods just out in beautiful sceneries and everything else. Sampling some beautiful wines in the beautiful Cape, and it was just so amazing when you take that guilt away, that layer of absolute shame and guilt from just enjoying a freaking slice of pizza or, you know, having that glass of wine. So obviously, I mean, this is not the way I normally eat 100% all the time. So, but for me, that was also the fact that I've just released all that guilt for a holiday. I went and I spent the time absolutely made sure that I was mindful with every single person, because I mean, like for me, I don't, like the last time I saw them was 3 years ago. I don't know when I'd be able to see them again. So just really connecting with them and not letting those food obsessions get in the way of that, which it used to. So for me, that was a massive, massive difference in my holiday and where I've been. And I actually feel so much more connected with myself and with my loved ones for being in that space. Now, obviously, I mean, that took a lot of work from my side, you know, being on my recovery journey and where I've been to. And this is what's happening for a lot of my clients. The minute they get rid of this food obsession, there's this actual way of, they find that they're more connected with their friends and family, and that they are just more at peace with themselves. And you know, all of them have said to me that they can really feel that they have food freedom because they feel that they're no longer controlled by food. So and that's what we work on in my food freedom program, and it's like just been an amazing, phenomenal journey with all my clients, seeing how they go through it. 100% results for all my clients, going from regular binge eating to, like, you know, almost none or completely gone by the time we're done in our 60 weeks together. So I'm just super excited about you know, my work and how I can help people from where I was to where I am now. And it just like really warms my heart to know that I can do that for someone else and help them get to where they need to be. So today we just had a question about you know, my top 3 tips for emotional and binge eating. So tip number 1 is making sure that you are never go hungry. Now, when I say never go hungry, I don't mean, you know, eat everything in sight. I'm saying eat foods that really give you the energy to help you function properly. It doesn't help that you go and eat every single thing in sight and you feel like you're bloated and you feel like you absolutely need to go for a nap, right? So you want to make sure that you get the foods in that really makes you feel like, oh my gosh, I've got the energy, I can go, you know, and you feel light and you feel revitalized once you've had that meal. So making sure that you have those throughout the day, and obviously depending on your metabolism, that could be 3 times a day or that could be 6 times a day, just depending on what works for you. And that's what we figure out with my clients as well. How many meals they should have a day is all dependent on what they need. So let me just see if I can switch on this light. There we go. So that's very vitally important, because hunger is probably one of the biggest triggers when it comes to emotional eating. Either we've restricted ourselves, or we've over-exercised, or we've just eaten really tiny things or not eaten at all. And then usually this is where you'll see this in the evenings, is that emotional eating in the evenings comes out like in a big way, where like you've just been non-stop the whole day, and then all of a sudden evening time comes and you just have to like eat whatever you can. So making sure that you get those high energy foods in is really 100%, that should be top on your list. Number 2 is slowing down, taking breaks, giving yourself time to process what's really going on for you, because we know that your issue is not a food issue. It's not the food that's forcing you to eat. It's there's something else going on underneath all that, and we need to figure that out. And we can't do that when you are in this really stressed emotional state. So, and I love this new saying from, I watched a workshop from Gabby Bernstein the other day, and one of her things as well, is funny enough, is one of her first steps and one of her processes is slow down, sister. And I just absolutely love that, because that is actually my first step in my stop method, is slow down. So, but she added the sister behind it, and I think that's amazing. So slow down, sister. Really making sure that you can take small little nourishment moments for yourself. Deep breaths, go for walks, give your body a little bit of a break from wherever you are. Often we sit at our desks working 8 hours a day and just going crazy with that kind of thing. So just making sure that your body is really nourished from a rest perspective. And if you can afford to go for a walk at lunchtime or go to the gym at lunchtime, do that. It gives your body a nice, beautiful break. I cannot tell you the difference that has made in my life. I go to the gym or yoga in my lunch breaks now, and it's made such a massive difference in my life. Just you come back so refreshed, and your stress levels are just so much better managed. And it only takes like an hour to go and just work out, go for a little sweat sesh, you know. It doesn't have to be a long thing. And yeah, it just makes you feel so much better. Your brain gets a break, you get more oxygen, and lovely stuff. But if you can't get that, then make sure you get up and take the long way around to the toilet when you go on your toilet breaks. Make sure that you go stand by the kitchen, sip your tea by the kitchen window, and look out towards whatever view you've got. That really helps to just give your brain and your eyes a break from what it's doing. And then the third tip for emotional and binge eaters is compassion. And I say this because we all know how we treat ourselves after we've been on that binge. You know, we end up berating ourselves, hating ourselves, vowing that we'll never do that again, banning all sorts of foods out of our lives. And just, it's an absolute tragedy about how we actually speak to ourselves in those moments. So just really bring yourself into compassion, you know. And you can't do that when you haven't slowed down. That's why slowing down is so important, because if you've slowed down and you've come from a comfort eating situation or an emotional eating situation, you'd be able to see that it wasn't the food that drove you to eat. It was actually something else, something deeper. And if you are in a slow, calmer space, you are able to actually sort it, like, you know, give yourself that bit of compassion and understand where that's coming from, so that you can deal with the issue, you know. So it could be like, okay, there was this chocolate in my hand, I was only going to eat like one block, and then the next minute I blanked out, and all of a sudden the whole thing is gone, the whole block. Where did it go? Well, you know, actually today was a really stressful day. This happened, that happened, I had this kind of stressful scenario, then the kids happened, then this happened, I forgot to buy groceries, all those kind of things all added up. And now in the evening I'm sitting here, I've got nothing to do, I'm all by myself, and all of a sudden I'm feeling all that anxiety. And that's why I ended up being food zombie, you know. So just understanding from a calm perspective, you can actually bring in that compassion, because there's a reason why we're acting out and eating and resulting in a binge. It's not because we want to. We don't want to binge. No one wants to binge. It feels awful. It feels terrible. You know, like, especially like from a physical perspective, you feel so ill afterwards. So no one wants that. No one wishes that for their body in the first place. But there's a reason why it's happening. And if you're going to be hard on yourself for why it's happening, then it's just going to add on that extra layer of guilt, and you're just going to find yourself back emotional eating or binge eating because of the added guilt that was on top of it. So being compassionate to yourself and just, telling yourself, I'm doing the best I can with the tools that I know now. And this is one of the hardest things that I work with my clients, is getting through that mindset of, hey, that's how my brain used to work and how I used to function and how I used to cope. But now we are building new ways of handling with those things. And often the brain will default to the old ways of doing things because that's the habits, that's the way we've always done it. So, that's where the real work starts, and that's where my Food Freedom program really cements in all those kind of things, so that, everything that I teach my clients actually become the cemented habits instead of the old defaulted ones. So hopefully these tips have helped. I would love for you to watch the space, because there's an exciting challenge coming your way. Just putting together all the little details, and then I will release that in the group a bit later. Have a beautiful day, and I will chat to you soon.